is my kid? Where
Okay.
the fuck is my kid? Fucking now. Fuck! Everybody out here is talking about smoke wet. So the fuck what? So the fuck what?
A new batch of methamphetamines hits America's streets with a mix of Flakka, ladies and gentlemen. You've seen these videos before where they're just running around crazy, beyond crazy. You thought libtards were crazy? You ain't seen nothing yet in the ghetto. And what a wild place it is, left totally abandoned by every government known to man. It just keeps getting worse and worse out there. More homeless people, more crackheads, more junkies, if you will. And it's at levels never seen before. Why, oh why, is this happening to America, ladies and gentlemen? Because it's part of the plan. It's part of that Agenda 21. It's part of the plan. It's part of the Georgia Guidestones. It's why they put the fluoride in the water. It's why they put a death tower near you. You should definitely get the EMF 390. Check it out on our website, stfnreport.com. You definitely don't want to go out there naked like you're on the Flakka, ladies and gentlemen. Crazy, crazy. I mean, when you see this woman just like, standing in the driver's seat, there's, she's broken through the windshield like the movie Aliens. When it just bursts through, the skin. She's just burst through the windshield and she's screaming, "Where are my keys?" And of course, the neighbors are freaking out, ladies and gentlemen. They're like, what is going on here? We've seen, all the shit in the ghetto, but we ain't never seen nothing like this. And so, of course, they immediately call the 5-0. They hate calling the 5-0. They know if they call the 5-0, somebody's probably going to get shot. They don't want to call the 5-0. But this here, they did, ladies and gentlemen. Why is there such a drug epidemic in our country right now? It's not just the open borders, which they've failed to, secure. It's not just the open borders. It's part of the plan. In fact, they say if you took the drug money out of America, it would go belly up overnight. They need all of that black market, cash, if you will, black market cash. Otherwise, the system would crumble. There wouldn't be enough liquidity moving around. There's 100 million people out there that aren't on the job rolls, that aren't, voting. What do these 100 million people do? They obviously don't give a what. Ladies and gentlemen, here you're watching some very disturbing footage of the LGBT community giving a striptease to children. You thought it was bad in the schools? They're on drugs too, And that's, a big part of the problem. That's what really drives the perversion and the craziness in our country. They're all on drugs. All these people in Congress, all these people on TV, they're all on drugs. They should be piss testing everybody. If you come on television, if you're, the president, vice president, secretary, if you're a member of Congress, if you're a police officer, they should be piss testing you all the time. You know what I mean? They should be doing their job sober, like the rest of us, of course, ladies and gentlemen. But especially when you got your finger on the button, you definitely want to know what's in your Diet Coke. And you just can't even believe, the things that we've covered over the last 10 years now doing the news. And, censored like never before. Just free speech not allowed, Let's not get into the failures of our democracy. There's lead and arsenic and fluoride in everybody's water. They're mandating the vaccines. The autism is through the roof. All the food is synthetic, sprayed with chemicals, which they say is for the bugs. You are the bugs, ladies and gentlemen. They're spraying on your food for you so that you'll eat it. I mean, this is how nefarious this system has become. Let's not even talk about the Epstein case right now. But we should. We should. We also want to mention real quick before continuing on with the news that we've revamped the website, stfnreport.com. Check it out. You've got the latest news from our end, the latest videos. And since our channels, tend to, well, move quite often. It's like guerrilla warfare, hit and run. You start up a new channel, you hit some story, out of the ballpark, and boom, they come in like the fucking Nazis and shut you down. But you'll get our latest videos on stfnreport.com. You want to check that out. Ladies and gentlemen, like and share out there. How's everybody doing? What a ride, for the last 2-3 years with this administration. What a ride since 9/11, all these Gladio B events. And to see, this full-on orgy of eugenics hitting our country. Well, it's amazing that people are just sitting by and watching it on television. You'd think they'd get off their fat ass and do something as the world is going to hell in a handbasket right before our very eyes. How many people out there remember Nick at Night? How many people out there remember shows like Mr. Ed, The Happy Days? Go watch one of those shows today, and it's just like unreal. It's like, what planet did these people come from? How do we get there? And, it's terrible out there, and, we can see this beast system basically, show up before our very eyes. They're chipping everything, everyone, and, they're automating everything. They're plugging everything into the Skynet. Soon they're going to be plugging people into the Matrix. And it's like, what's going on? Well, it's the pages of the Bible playing out before your very eyes. I mean, these people are nonstop product placing the Luciferian agenda. From, ever since you've been a little kid, it's been the Santa Claus, it's been devolution at schools. They've been conditioning you to be a militant atheist and sexualizing you so that you'll be, full-blown Sodom and Gomorrah. And, you just end up spreading the lies when you're in that mindset, like you're passing the paper around with the pyramid on the back of the dollar bill. Look, we don't want to get all cliche, but it's obvious that there is something going on out there, and it's not your imagination, ladies and gentlemen. And it's the big elephant in the room. Nobody wants to talk about why all these people are fucking cult members, right? They're all part of the Skull and Bones. They're all cousins, related, best friends, members of the same country club and the like, hanging out, a big clique, and we're not in it. And, nobody's talking about that, why they're all singing the same song, doing the same dance, talking about basically raping children. I mean, everybody was linked to Epstein. They gave the pedophile prosecutor, a promotion, right? It's obvious what they're into. You see Groper Joe, creepy Biden out there, no doubt, and he's like so screwed with this Ukraine thing. They're all screwed with this Ukraine thing. And so now what do you do? It's like, no matter who you pick, it's bad or worse. It's bad or worse. Obviously, any average Joe off the street with an IQ above 80 could have done a better job, turning things around in this country. What do they do? Look, we could talk about the fake money they injected in the system, the fake numbers, coming out of the Department of Labor, Acosta's department, and the like. We could talk about, what they've done and what they haven't done in this country. But the situation is much worse than it should be, and much worse than it could be. But in any case, ladies and gentlemen, it's important to keep your eye on the ball. I mean, these people are poisoning everything. including your minds, your body, your soul. These people are, the sworn enemy of every Christian and person of faith out there. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out what these people are up to. The question is, have you fallen back asleep with the current programming? And of course, after 11 years on NBC doing The Apprentice, Trump was loved by everybody pretty much. And now they just can't see beyond the persona of what they've seen on television. And that's really the trouble with the TV. It's just there to program you. It's just there to condition you and to turn you into whatever they want you to be. And obviously, right now, they want you to be as docile and as feminized as possible, ladies and gentlemen, to be an easy victim. And this is why they're dumbing down people. People have never been so, libtarded out there, or autistic, or, on some kind of spectrum. People are just way, way messed up out there, and they're not even living in the real world. There is a whole world out there that you'll never know about outside of the walls of the Matrix. Whether it be, outside the city limits or outside of the country, there's just a whole history of human civilization and, deep thinking to discover. But most people today never get an opportunity to see it, because they're so locked in the Matrix. It's like, when you go out in the city at night and you can't even see the stars in the sky, you're not living in the real world. You're living in some kind of illusion that you think is the real world. And all day people are just tapping away at their phones, getting dosed, victimizing themselves through this eugenics program. The phone is not that cool. Plus, it's like, the ultimate spy tool. It allows them to know everything about you, manipulate you. You're just a mark if you've got a smartphone on you 24/7. I pity the people that sleep next to one of those things. We've seen what they put out with the EMF 390, and seeing is believing, as they say. So you should check out what you're getting dosed with. Check it out at stfnreport.com. In any case, ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot to be said about the entire nature of what we're up against. Seeing is believing. Check out, a little biology. Check out the DNA. It's a programming language, like a computer code. It's what is really freaked out all the scientists, and they're like, do we live in the Matrix? Because it absolutely proves even the simplest form of life to get here on planet Earth, it requires megabytes of information. It's a program. It's not just going to spontaneously generate from dust. It's just not going to happen. That's a very important thing to think about, especially since they're throwing the Santa Claus, the devolution at you, brainwashing you, making you think like, whatever. But the science is rather clear. There's no such thing as, life evolving from non-living material. That's the law of biogenesis. And if you want to know more about Genesis, you should check out Genesis 1, chapter 1 in the Bible. You should know the Bible like your favorite movie. You should know the Bible like, your favorite song, ladies and gentlemen, because it's not only your foundation and gateway to higher understanding. I mean, it really nails it when it comes to what's going on out there. You can tell them by their fruits. And it's only by knowing, what's there in the Bible and being able to compare and discern, can you really tell what's going on. And, it's Christians out there that are the most woke people by far, because they see it in terms of good versus evil. It's not about politics. It's not about Republicans versus Democrats. It's about the good guys versus the bad guys. Like every movie you've ever seen, there's the good guys and the bad guys. And the Bible is really clear about who the bad guys are. And I think we'd all be surprised if we could take a census on how many people are demonically possessed out there, because I'm sure the numbers would be through the fucking roof. And it's an outbreak. In fact, we're at risk of losing it all. Humanity, civilization, the whole thing. is just set up to get assimilated and terminated by this beast system. And the only way to fight the darkness is with the light. You got to continue on and evangelize out there, wake people up, but in terms of good versus evil. And don't go too far with, like, the newcomers out there. Just guide them to the Gospels. Let them understand that this is, the foundation to understanding what's going on in this world. Ladies and gentlemen, a huge movement. 2,000 years later, a church in every town. The Bible has been preached on every continent, in every country. You can tell it looks like the end times out there. We'll never know when that actually is, but you can tell it's near. And we all have to do our part, like David versus Goliath out there. We got to carry our cross. We got to see this fight until the very end. And it's not about who wins and loses, because we know who wins. It's about how you play the game. It's about passing the test. And so living out the Bible in your life, brings light into your, sector of the matrix. And everybody out there should be an ambassador, an evangelist for our cause. Never forget that. It's about, our faith before everything else, before political party, before country, before whatever you might want to say. It's right there in the Bible, ladies and gentlemen. Until the next time, if you're listening to this, you are the resistance.